Worship Culture Radio.
What's going on, everybody? It's Ashley, and this is Worship Culture Radio Show right here on Strictly Hip Hop 90.7 FM. And I am here with National Gospel Recording Artist, Stellar Award nominee, Billboard chart topper, and founder of Kenny Lewis and One Voice, Mr. Kenny Lewis himself. How you doing, sir?
Ashley, how are you? I'm doing great.
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you.
My pleasure.
And I appreciate your time. Now, let's go ahead and get into this. All right. We talked about you being a Billboard chart topper. I'd say you prospering in the pandemic right now. You just released, if I can call it this, a super single with Undefeated with a bonus track of Victorious, which is a banger. Okay. It's hot.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Listen, I was turned like, okay. Yes.
You got your groove on?
I got it. Okay. I got it. I got my praise on and my groove on. I got all of the above.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you in that. Like, that's amazing.
Oh, thank you. I am so honored of the reception that everybody has given from the single, the message, the vibe of it, especially in this time. So we are honored.
Yes. Well, I mean, success isn't new for you, but I guess you kind of explained how you felt. You're honored. And it's an absolute blessing because, you're out here working and you're pushing and for it to be received in this time and on time for this time. It's absolutely dope.
People don't have to be receptive to your music. You can't base your past successes off of right now. And I like to keep pushing the card and not be comfortable and content. And to still allow God to give me strong messages for an end time. And I think this was right on time for what we're dealing with.
Yes, I would say that that's consistent with your, can I call it a discography? You got some albums out. Look, you've constantly been working. And even when I looked at the titles of each of your albums, I'm like, man, each of these are the title is powerful in itself. And then the order that they all come in and come through. I'm looking forward to the next album release.
Yeah, that's in November. This is just the single. Undefeated off the forthcoming album sometime this fall around November. So we are excited to release that. It was live. We did it live November 23rd of 2019. So there are some surprises on there. Tiffany Andrews from Sunday Best is on there. Pastor Charles Jenkins.
Come on.
Michael Lampkin, who was season 5 Sunday Best. So we are excited. You are hilarious.
I'm excited. I saw that was like, okay.
Yeah. So they came through and really did their thing. And my dog doesn't want me to be great.
It's okay. Mine would probably be doing the exact same thing. But amen.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. So this is just the beginning stages of the new album.
Yes. Are you? So the album is titled Undefeated.
The album as well. Yes. Itself.
Okay. Can you give vision for that? Like, how did that come about? What did God release to you in your process of creating?
Me, myself, I felt like giving up on this music industry several times. You hear so many no's. Fortunately, and thank God that some no's have pushed me even harder.
Yeah.
But even in my no's, or feeling like I'm defeated, what we're dealing now, I know so many people who are really depressed.
Yeah.
Just really wanting to give up. And there are a lot of encouraging songs on here. I told God I wanted an album that would reach everyone. And you don't have to be a biblical scholar to understand the message. That the message can hit you right here and you don't have to have an interpreter. You know, and also I want to remind people, hey, we're on the winning team. undefeated means you've never lost. Even when they crucified Jesus at Calvary, he still ended up winning. And we're on the winning team. So he's undefeated. He lives inside of us. So guess what? We're undefeated.
Come on. Did you catch that, people? We are undefeated. We are victorious. Okay? We are more than conquerors. We're going to make it through this. All right?
I believe it.
Yeah. So I have a question about how do you receive your songs? Like, what's been, or maybe I should ask, like, what's been the most outlandish way that God has dropped a song in your spirit to write? Like, I just want to write my story. That's all.
You know what's crazy is that I never sit down and say, hey, I want to write music today. And I know everybody has their own story. And it may sound cliche, but I never sit down to a piano and say, okay, I feel like writing today. Songs come to me in part, especially while I'm in the car. I'm constantly recording. Then I have to go back because it's in part, you know, the message, the melody lines, or there may be something that I've heard from a message that my pastor had preached that Sunday, and God would just give me things, and it's always been like that for 20 years. I've never sat down like, hey, I want to write a song today. Yeah, you know.
I feel that.
So so that's how He gives it to me, you know. And when I think like, God, do I have anything else left in the tank? You know, you gave me so many things on the last project, but you know, He always comes through. And my endeavor was not just because I have a choir, but I love every kind of music. So I wanted to pull praise and worship leaders and singers. You know, if you love quartet, if you love musicianship, and I want to be the liaison to pull all those intricate parts together to worship at the same time.
Come on and connect, everybody. Come on and be the bridge. Hello?
The bridge that brought me over.
Huh? Yes.
That's hilarious.
I absolutely love it. Well, as you were speaking, I'm like, it is probably, well, of course, God is going to release the word. He's going to give you the song, but it probably also helps that you have a group of amazing singers, both within your choir and people who you can pull on. I was listening to some of your music, and I'm like, one voice is one voice, okay? Yeah. Like, one voice is one voice, and I'm like, are these seasoned singers? Like, what's rehearsal like? What did it take to achieve that sound? Like, let us give some choir directors some pointers.
Yeah, anybody knows me knows I am a stickler for vocals. Yeah. And I hear vocals in a different kind of way. You know, I would always love, growing up, Andre Crouch, Thomas Whitfield, but I would also love the Winans. I would also love the Clark sisters, you know, and so there would be different things that they would do as a group that I felt like, why can't we do as a choir? And I have always, that's me. So when you hear it, it's a one voice sound, but that's my thinking. That's the way God gives it to me. And I used to be kind of ashamed of it a little bit. Like, I don't hear it like everybody else or the masses, so to speak. But He's given me assurance to walk in what He's given me, and that this is what you get, one voice.
Yes, come on. And that shows you set apart. You set apart, Mr. Lewis. Come on. That's why He continues to give you a sound and a song for each appointed time. So undefeated, all of that for such a time as this. Clearly, you were going through a season of feeling like giving up. And look at where we are now. Like you mentioned, there's a lot of people probably experiencing that exact same thing. Never thought that 2020 was going to hit like this. But child, we here. And God's going to see us through. So you've been in the game for a minute. And we're gonna wrap around with this. Is there anything that you would say to someone who might be wanting to, you know, take their foot into the music industry, knowing that, you know, you felt like giving up at some point in time, but God has sustained you big time in this and has opened doors for you that are absolutely amazing and put you before great people? What would you say to encourage that person that wants to get into the industry, and maybe just the person who might feel like giving up on whatever it is that they feel God has purposed them to do? What would you say?
I would say, for one, the music industry, don't chase industry, or don't chase what you see visually on social media. All what you see is not all what it is. That's number one. Well, number one, I would say, everybody says keep God first. You have to. You
Absolutely.
have to. But we don't need another Kenny Lewis. We don't need another Ty Tribbett. Be yourself. And I think that's where God has really blessed my ministry, is that I had to embrace what he's given me, not what he's given someone else. So I desire to be all that God has given me and the best at that. So I would encourage anybody, be you. If you're a worship leader, then be that worship leader. If you love choir music, then be the best that you can be. Quartet, I love it all. Contemporary, I'm serious. And even on this project, I tell people this is a music buffet, because there's
Come on.
for everyone. But be what God has called you to be. We are not all the same. We don't sing the same. We don't act the same. If that were the case, then we should just make one big mass choir if we're all the same. But he's given us individual talents and gifts, and be what God has called you to be.
Yes, y'all heard it here. Come on, be who God has called you to be. Somebody is depending upon your voice, your sound, what it is that God has placed in you to release. Because your voice might be what touches everybody's voice is not meant for everybody. There's somebody waiting for yours specifically. So go on and share it. Talk to myself too. Go on and release it. Listen, everybody, this has been a great privilege to be right here with you, Mr. Kenny Lewis.
Oh, thank you so much. My pleasure.
Yes, y'all heard it. Now, this new album that's going to be released in November is like a music buffet. So come on in where the table is spread. Until then, go ahead and get your snack on by listening to the single Undefeated and Victory.
Yes.
I'm telling you, it's going to bless you. Go stream, go purchase, go do whatever you can. And you heard that right here on Worship Culture Radio Show, Strictly Hip Hop 90.7 FM. Keep it locked right here, y'all.
It's Worship Culture Radio.